Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the World of Football YouTube channel. I'm your host, Adam Snow. Sitting next to me, as always, is the founder of the World of Football, my father, Randy Snow. Dad, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing real good. It's nice and warm here in Michigan, but it's going to get even hotter the next few days. So let's get into some hot conversation with our guest tonight.
Oh, yes, let's do that for sure. Tonight, guys, we are so excited to bring on a guy who's been making a name for himself in the AF1 out there in Oregon. It is our new friend, Dalton Cole. Dalton, welcome to the channel. We are so excited to talk to you. I know I just randomly mentioned, like, on one of our previous shows, like, how much I liked watching you play. And if you wanted to slide into the DMs, let's do something, get you on and talk. And here we are. How you been?
Been good. Been good. The getting to drive across the country again was fun. So finally back home, after 4 months. So
I was gonna say that's a long drive from Redmond, Oregon, to where you're at in North Carolina. I think I jotted down the numbers. That's 2,563 miles you had to travel
yeah,
after the end
yeah,
of the season. There, that's a
yep,
long way to go.
yeah. It was tough, but I mean, like I said, thankful for my stepdad coming through, and we knocked it out together. So
Cool.
Heck yeah! And before we get into some of the big questions, we do want to say a big congratulations to you because it was just announced by the AF1 last night that you are a finalist, one of the three finalists for Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year. One,
sweet.
how did you find out? And two, how do you feel getting nominated for those awards in your first season in the AF1?
No, it was. I mean, I found out I was driving down the road, and it got sent in my family chat. The the pictures got sent with like the article that came out with it. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Like my dad shows me, he's like, dude, like look at this, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know. I had no expectations for it or how it was working. Coach Jones and everything kind of hinted at it and everything, and I like to, not expect a lot so you don't get disappointed. So I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. But then seeing that's really, really cool, especially my first year. It kind of, it being in Redmond, and not winning a lot until the end of the year and everything, figuring stuff out. It kind of felt like we were flying under the radar. So I mean, as much as it's an individual accolade, it's awesome to see the Lightning in general, get a little bit of praise there, get us on the map and let people know, like, there's good players up there, myself, K. Lou, and stuff like that, Snoop for sure, but which I hate. He didn't get a nomination, but it's hard for a DB to get stats if nobody throws at you. You don't want to get thrown at. So, but no, it's good. It feels really good. I'm happy and I'm thankful.
Had you ever been up to Oregon before? I mean, that part of the country?
So insanely enough, with my job, I drove to Eugene, um, in a box truck. So I drove to Eugene through
Wow.
Bend, through Redmond. I took the same exact path that I drove back up there when I went to go play football. So that's it. I
Yep.
never stayed there. Never spent time.
Okay, that's fine. That's part of the country I haven't been to. I've been to California, but never to Oregon or Washington, so I'm not familiar with that part of the
Gorgeous.
country.
It's beautiful up
I'm
there. What
sure
they
it
say is
is.
very true. Once you get past all the desert and like stuff, like even the Badlands, just the landscape's crazy. It looks awesome. So
Yeah. Cool.
So speaking of your journey across the country, can you tell us a little bit about your football journey? We know you started at college out there in North Carolina, but here you are, 2025. You're in Redmond, Oregon. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up from little North Carolina out there to Redmond, Oregon?
it's been a trip. I was initially going to play receiver at a D1, Eastern Tennessee State. Was there for the summer and ended up transferring. I had a coach Jakes call me from Brevard. Went there to play quarterback and then became kind of like a jack of all trades at Brevard College. Played running back, receiver, tight end, quarterback, you name it. I played it, special teams. And then post that, I kind of didn't know. A D3 football player, I'm realistic. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I should be in the league. I should get drafted. But some opportunities came up. What was an old version of the UFL, what's the National Gridiron League, was initially like branded as the UFL with Joe McClendon III. Had an opportunity in Atlanta. That league ended up falling through, but he sent me to Jacksonville to coach Gibson. Went to Jacksonville, met some guy named Sam Castronova. He came there with me.
Mm.
I don't know. He ended up being pretty good, so I didn't stick
Yeah,
on the
we've
team
heard of
that
him.
long. But so, anyways, a few weeks after that, I get sent up to Albany, the Empire, when they were the Empire at the time under Antonio Brown.
Hmm.
Met a coach, Coach Leggett, And that dude was a blessing in disguise. I mean, that guy is the reason I played the last 2 years. He took me to Amarillo with him, vouched for me, brought me on. So I went to Amarillo, played there, got traded to Corpus Christi at the end of the year, played against the Columbus Lions in the championship. Then going forward, I kind of didn't know. The AIF is a little weird to get in and out of at that time. So I was going to tryouts. I had the Predators, the Wheeling Miners, the Carolina Cobras, a ton of just camps I was going to go to, and I was on the way to an Orlando Predators camp, and Coach Leggett called me back and was like, "Dude, I know the guys down there. Let me talk to them." And so he got me there into an actual the training camp. So again, blessed by that. Got there, did what I did. Met a guy named Casey and Andre Sale. They taught me a ton of things, and I got traded the day before they got, I got kicked out of the league. I don't know, kicked, is that the way to say it? But so got traded the day before that happened.
And yeah, that ended up being a blessing in disguise. You ended up in Oregon, and then you got to play a great season. Here you are with these accolades and stuff. So, because I remember that trade happened, and I was just like, man, that guy got real lucky. I hope he sticks around. Here you are.
I think you may have been the person that tweeted or not tweeted, but subtweeted or whatever. Like this, the luckiest guy in the league or something like that.
Somebody, I don't know if it was me or not, but I mean, still, yeah, that's pretty lucky, right?
Yeah. The day before, I'm on the way home to get a plane ticket, and I just hear the Orlando Predators fold. I was like, what? Like, no way. What?
Now I'm gonna have to go look and see if I did tweet that, because that was what, back in March, February? Man, that was a while ago.
Yeah, like February 28th, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, so now I'll have to go look at that. But so much has happened. We've gone through 15 weeks of the regular season at AF1. Obviously, we started with week 0. We just ended with week 15. And the league itself, it's their first year. There's been a lot of bumps and bruises, growing pains, all of that. And same with Oregon, a brand new team out there in Redmond. And you got to see kind of from the beginning, a team kind of just trying to find its footing. And by the end of the year, fighting for a playoff spot. Can you tell us a little bit about playing out there and experiencing some of those same bumps and bruises, and what kind of improvements you saw your team make over the course of 15 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm not, giving away too much, but I mean, first week, me and Matthew Yawane, who was my backup for the first probably 8 or 9 weeks, we were out there pressure washing the goalposts and repainting them with our owners, trying to get ready for Billings. Being a first year program, so much stuff had to happen. Buying everything and getting everything set up, and our owners were awesome. Jay, Sarah, and Chuck, going through it. Watching them. I spent a lot of time with them. Got real close with them, and so we're willing to help out and do a ton of things. And before Billings, we're pressure washing these things, carrying them around, getting them set up, helping them out. Because again, being brand new, there's not a ton of help. They don't have a ton of direction. They're figuring things out as it goes. And even if you guys didn't notice the game day operations, I remember in the last podcast you said you noticed the walls got better. They got those big cement barrels behind there, so they didn't move as much. And I mean, literally, every single home game, it got better. The operation got better. Is whether it's the filming, whether it's the crew around us, whether it's the walls, or just having everything set up on time or early, and stuff like that. Just they got way better at doing that, and it was cool to see. As far as the team, some of those guys played on the Oregon Black Bears last year. When they got kicked out the AFL, but they came back with Chuck because they Coach Jones is awesome. He makes a guy want to play for him and do a lot. He's great at talking and making people want to play. So he brought some guys back: Kalu, Snoop, Kiki or Kiaris Adley. Trying to think. I hope it don't. Spicer, Jeremiah Spicer, Zine, one of my linemen that ended up coming through. Those guys all played on the Black Bears, and just seeing them come back and how things got better, more professional, how they carried themselves and did things, taught the younger guys. I mean, even me, this is my first big stage pro year. AIF is awesome, it's great, but I mean, it's not the AF1, it's not the NAL, it's not the IFL. So this was my first big year, and being able to kind of confide in someone like Kalu and Snoop, those guys are awesome, helping me out, helping me learn things, see things. And then, of course, my coordinator, Coach Tate, we got closer as the year went on. He wasn't there in Redmond. He lived up in Washington for most of the year, so we'd see him through meetings, watching practice film and Zoom meetings. But and then on game day, we do walkthroughs and stuff like that with him. But him and I getting on the same page, play calling, that got better as the year went on. You saw that final game with K. Lou finally got to the point of where like, hey man, it didn't work the first time, didn't work the second time. Got to give one the ball, get one the ball. If it's Donovan Ollie, if it's Mo, but Mo Ashley, Maurice Ashley, number 8, and then Samson ended up getting hurt. But kind of getting on the same page with my coordinator was awesome. Yeah. So
can I ask you real quick about the arena itself? So yeah, obviously we watched a lot of games this year covering the league. And your first game against Billings, yeah, the walls we all saw the walls getting kind of pushed back. And like you said, by that last game, it did feel like, hey, yep, they had the improvements, they had the cement barrels back there to kind of keep things in place. I do want to ask about the scoreboard because I wasn't sure because I was like, I don't remember the ball hitting the scoreboard at all towards the end, but I felt like in that first game it did quite a bit. Did they move the scoreboard up?
No, it didn't move. The very final game, one of my throws hit the scoreboard.
Oh, so, okay. I must have missed that play.
So it didn't move. But like we got better. Our kicker Ethan, he hit it a few times because we were kind of unsure how far outside you could kick the ball. Some guys would kick it in the middle, especially when the deuces were available and easy, like Nashville's, Albany's. Trying to think of others, but Nashville and Albany's no problem. Like there's nothing in the way. So you kind of get those, but then like ours, Washington's, even Billings is a little bit of an issue. But so guys would kind of move it to the side to kick. But there's a little bit of a like how far to the side could you move it? Like is there a limit? Like could you kick it from the wall? We don't know. So like as you noticed, especially I think Hale is on Salina.
Salina? Yeah.
Who was Billings kicker? I hate to not know his name. That's my fault. Billings
Dean
kicker.
Faithful.
Faithful. Yep. He started kicking from way outside. Like we were watching him kicking from way outside. So we're kind of learning stuff. And we're like, I mean, if they're not gonna yell at him. Like we can do it. We started moving things outside and stuff like that. And so we kind of copycatted it, and so it became less of an issue. Obviously, if you're kicking from the side, you're not going to worry about hitting it.
You talked about your coach, Chuck Jones. Can you elaborate more on that? What was your relationship like as the season went along?
I mean, Chuck and I talked constantly. He had some things going on at home here and there, not to disclose too much about his personal. So he was to and from Portland a lot. But again, always on the phone, always texting about anything. And the one thing like I said, like a lot of guys want to play for him because he cares about us. Like he truly does care about us. He truly did invest in this team, and he cared. So and this was his like first year on a big stage coaching as well. So he was learning a ton of things as it went, as well as being the GM and a partial owner. So he had a ton on his plate. But he was awesome, man. Like that's a guy like I'd play for a lot, and I'm glad I found him and played for him. Like he's one of those dudes that he makes you want to come play for him again. That's just how much he cares. He's fiery, as you guys could see. He's very very excitable on the sidelines and stuff like that. But he'll match your energy. He'll calm down when needed. There's a lot of times he was kind of like, hey man, like, pat me on the chest, like relax, like get back here. Cause I'm fiery on the field. Like I kind of play at a high, like kind of at a hot level. Like I like talking a little bit, if guys won't talk to me, I'll talk to them. But he did really good at being like, hey, come back to earth, dude. Like you're up here right now. So yeah.
So I got a sillier question. I'm a big uniform guy. And this year in the AF1, you guys had a bunch of cool looking uniforms this year that you guys got. But out there in Oregon, you guys had a couple extra ones that kind of appeared here and there. But my question to you was going to be, what was your favorite uniform you guys wore this year?
Mine ended up being the orange with the black accessories. I like that a lot because that's something like that was a color no one else had. Orange, being bright orange, coming out there in like a colorway, and a lot of guys like Mo said at one time, he was like, oh, we play pretty when we play with orange. And I'm like, nah, dude, we play like the Lightning. Like we're the only team that has that kind of orange in our uniforms. The Wolfpack has that cool, the cool colorway. Southwest Kansas has a cool colorway. Everyone has black. Everyone has white. But like only we had orange, the full orange. So that was definitely my favorite.
It was a real roller coaster season for you guys out there. What were some of the high points and low points of the season in your mind?
I think where things were it kind of felt the lowest was it was our first home game back. We just lost to Salina, and we felt like we shouldn't have. We just thought it was Nashville and Salina in a row, and then we come back to play Washington. And by the way, we felt like we shouldn't have lost to them when we went to Washington. We're up 22-0. So we're kind of in the boat of we're 1-4 right now. Could be 4-1. Billings beat the brakes off us our first game. We're not gonna try and argue that, but like 4 of those 5 games, we felt like we could have and should have won. We got the Hail Mary with Southwest, and that could have been a coin flip basically. But coming back at home, first game in 6 weeks at home, and we're down 41-0 going into the fourth quarter to Washington, our rival, and had not moved the ball at all. It just felt like, what are we doing? Like we're on the sidelines, like, what are we doing? We got guys arguing because it's frustrating, and if we don't complete a Hail Mary, we're 0-6 at this point. It's like, what are we doing? Why are all these games so tough? What's going on? But then going forward, we closed that game on like a 30-point run, and then we win the next 3, and we're like, oh, okay, so now we're 4-6 at this point, and we're going to play. I think it was Nashville this time. We're like, if we can get Nashville, feeling good, we get into Nashville and all that stuff happens. But I think that high point after the third win against Corpus, like, dude, we're on a win streak, and yeah, it's Washington, Corpus, and I hate to downplay any teams. We're all pros here, so, but I know that was a thought process even from you guys. It's like, hey, a disgruntled Corpus, kind of retooling and stuff like that. But so like we were really really excited and amped up to get into Nashville. Things didn't go our way. Had a few drops. I played a bad game personally. Like I'm not happy about watching the Nashville film. Every time I do, I kind of like I played a bad game, didn't throw it good.
Mhm.
But going into that Nashville game, we're pretty up there. And then the second Billings game or the third Billings game was like pretty. I think if we would have won, it'd have been great. It'd have been awesome. When we scored that last touchdown, that kind of felt like the peak of the season. Like finally playing how we think we should play. Defense is getting stops. We're scoring. We're going toe to toe with Billings, who just beat our ass 2 times in a row, and we're in the contention for the playoffs. Like if we'd have won, like that probably would have definitely been it. But when it was 38-32 or whatever it was, or 38-31, I can't remember what the total score was. I'm sorry, but that was a big part right there too.
Yeah, I remember that stretch you guys were winning games. I remember because your social media team out there in Oregon definitely liked to take a clip of me talking about you guys on that little streak there.
Yeah.
So I'll own up to that one, but
it's real.
it was all in good fun.
But it's reality. We're not silly. We're all pros. We know what it is. We get it.
Yeah, but I also want to ask, because I know in the middle of the season, and it does stink across the board. Originally, it was supposed to be 6 playoff teams, and then the league kind of decided to cut it off at 4. Otherwise, you guys would be playing this weekend, more than likely. Can you tell about where were you when you found that news out? I remember I think you were doing a show with the official AF1 podcast too around then when that news came down.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had just beat Corpus and we won our 3rd in a row. It was either then or was it right after we beat Washington the second time? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it sucked. You're like, dang, like, why are they changing rules now that we're kind of getting into the spot? But they're not changing rules for us specifically. It's not a personal thing. It's not a vendetta against Oregon and Washington. And Salina at that time was, right there, not doing good. But I mean, it's good for the league. In my opinion, you don't want to go into the playoffs and have 98-12 or 100-12 or 80-7, 50-7. Like, you don't want these are playoff games that are big deal on national TV. So it's good for the league. In my opinion, I get it. Sucks. I understand though. Like, you want a more competitive playoff. No one wants to watch a blowout unless you're the fan of the team blowing the other team out. But in general, like, you're I believe, Dad, Randy, you're a Cats fan, or no? You're a Billings fan.
It's up in the air now.
No.
Somebody on social media was posting about how Randy abandoned the Outlaws. I can't think of the person at the top of my head.
That was you. That was you.
Titus is not happy with him. I mean, there were memes.
No.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. We don't have to go
They
into it
won
right
last
now.
year, so he was a fan last year.
Mhm.
But the Cats are in the playoffs this year, so now he's a fan of the Cats. I get it. I see where
Yeah,
we are.
yeah, you got. I think you got it down. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
But I
No,
mean, yeah.
I
So,
have
go ahead,
I
go
have
ahead.
been a Billings fan since I drove to New Jersey last year to be at the championship game at the
Yeah.
mall, the brawl at the
Yep.
mall, and that was an awesome experience. And I got to meet Steven Titus there, and he had, we had like DM back and forth a few times, stuff that we'd said that he'd heard, and I got to meet him there.
It's because he
and,
got a free shirt from him. This is why.
and he gave me
I'd
a
be a
free
fan.
Billings shirt. So
I'll
yeah,
be a
so
fan.
I can be bought. Usually it's for a couple of hot dogs and a soda pop. But
Yeah.
so I've always I was a Billings fan all season long. When they were out of the playoffs, I decided to jump to a new team. I went to a Nashville Cats game last year, so I was down there, saw a game. So that is my team for the playoffs. But I'm still a Billings fan, no matter
That's your
what
winning team.
this guy
We got
says.
Got it.
I equate that to like we're Lions fans, so I equate that to him throwing the Lions jersey away during the playoffs if we don't make it, and wearing an Eagles jersey or something.
Yep.
Like I can't
Listen,
even.
they're nearby.
Wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that.
But yeah, no, I mean the playoff thing, guys. It's good though. I like it. I like the four team playoffs. We had an opportunity. They announced it early enough in the season that every single team still had a chance. So
Right.
there's no bone to pick about it. I can't complain. If we handle our business earlier in the season and win the games we think we should have won, then we're in the playoffs. If we handle our business, against Billings and then all this stuff, like we're in the playoffs. So it was good. It was good for the league, I think, and especially with Salina playing Albany and how they sent them to the overtime when they played in Albany, and now you get a game in Nashville is good for the league. Nashville fans show up and show out. Like watching that game last week was awesome. Like it was a great game to watch because the crowd's there, it's big, it's packed out. So I mean, Nashville hosting the game's awesome. So Southwest hate that they're not the 2 seed, dropping both those games, but it made a more competitive playoff, and I think it's good for the league.
Yeah, I think anytime that you're still in the hunt in the last week of the season, it's a good thing. Because
Yeah.
it all comes down to who's playing well, and that's all you can ask for is to be, in playoff contention in the last week of the season. I mean, what more
That's
can
right.
you ask for at that point?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think if we have now, you look at it, the 6 teams, it'd be us and Billings would be in there, and like, hell yeah, I still think that'd be competitive as well. Like, and
Right.
it'd be silly to say Corpus and Washington can't. Obviously, you guys are a little more social media people, so you can see the 98-12s and the 80-7, I think is what it was, maybe
Right.
80-12, and but pros are pros. We're always going to believe we can win a game regardless. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, speaking of playoffs, you ended up playing 3 of the 4 playoff teams, but you also know the quarterback for the team you didn't play this year.
Yeah.
What are some of your thoughts on some of the matchups? Let's talk about Salina and your buddy Sam. How do you see that game?
I mean, honestly, the way Kilgo has been playing since Cato got injured, unfortunately, he's been playing incredible. Like I was worried whenever Kilgo came in, based off his first couple games. I think he's a rookie this year. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't do a total background check on Kilgo, but like he struggled against a very good Corpus team, so you don't want to write him off. But I mean, he struggled a few times, and then Cato came in and completely flipped their season. So when they had to come back to him, and I noticed he stayed on the roster. Usually, if a guy's bad, you're going to release him, try to get someone else. He stayed on the roster the whole year. He never left. So that says something. But then when he came in, it's scary. You're like, this dude, like he didn't perform, in the first couple games, and the way Cato's been playing all year, especially giving them a run for their money in Albany. But Kilgo has stepped up and played out of his mind. 2 straight Real American Beer Player of the Weeks, and deservedly so. I mean, he's played out of his mind. Stepped in big time moments and made plays and got them the win that they needed. They needed to win both games to get in, and they did. So huge shout out to him. If they can keep that momentum, I don't know if Cato is healthy. I'm not 100% sure what happened to Cato. I'm pretty close with Honeycutt out there, but we were in Orlando together. But I haven't really messaged him about any of that. But if Cato's good to go, obviously that's the nod. You give him the nod and let him roll. But Kilgo's playing out of his mind and keeping on the hot streak. But then of course you run into the buzzsaw. That's Albany. I'll be guilty. when it was 12-18 in the first quarter, I was like, no way. Like, no way they're giving them a run for their money. Washington, when they played them. I was like, no way. And then, I guess they were like, all right, hold on. Let's make sure we are Albany. So turned on the buzzsaw and, ended up with 98 points. And their kicker, Hale, is amazing. Hale? Do they have Hale right? Or is that Salina?
Henry Nell.
Nell, yeah. Nell, I think he scored like the fifth most points in the league at like 112 or something like that as a kicker. So he's incredible. So that's crazy having him as just a little offensive weapon to score 12 points a game for you.
Yeah.
But DB Townsend and Isaiah Scott, that unit looks just amazing with Sam at the helm. Like watching how they play. So it's gonna be entertaining to see them try to get stopped. Like that's the big thing with Salina. Their line is incredible. Their front four, Kerry Starks is the Defensive Player of the Year candidate for a very good reason. Dude gave us hell when we played him. Yeah, he gave us hell. He's a vet. He's smart. He's good. So they'll have fun playing against Albany's front four and kind of see how that goes. I'm interested to see how that plays out again. So but yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good game. It should be.
I've been really liking what Salina has done the last half of the year, so that should be a great game. And then in the other matchup, you got the Southwest Kansas Storm and Nashville Cats. You played both those teams also.
Yep.
What can you tell us about that matchup?
I hope no one gets mad at me when I say this. I think the best all around defense I've played, haven't played Albany, was Nashville's. I mean their front four is really good, and their DBs are great. So you get good pressure, and a lot of times the guys are covered. And Coach Arbette, I don't know their DC's name, but Coach Arbette and those boys have them prepped. They throw some different coverages at you. It's not always man. They do a different thing where they press the high motion sometimes, or a lot of times in their situation, which is different. A lot of people don't do that and try to play man out of it. So that's an interesting take, but it works for them. They gamble a lot. They got a ton of turnovers and interceptions. Hell, they think they picked me off 5 times in the 2 games that we played. So, they're super, what is it? They kind of seize the opportunity. When it comes off bouncing off the walls, receivers dropping balls, they're there to make a play. So, and again, their front four is really good as well. The Southwest Kansas, Jalen is incredible. You gotta watch out for his legs always. He's the best runner in the league at this point, especially according to the stats. He's like double the second most yards, which I think might be me. And then he has the most rushing touchdowns, and his rushing touchdowns are not the same as mine. His rushing touchdowns are he runs. He's taking off from 20 yards. He's taking off from 15 yards, making guys miss, and he's getting out. Mine are on the goal line. A lot of guys around me, and we're getting kind of getting dirty, but he runs and that dude special came out of the UFL, and if he keeps playing how he can, and they can close the game out. That's the big thing. They didn't close out against us. They made it very close against Salina the following weekend to get after us. And in these last 2 games, man, they came all the way back that first week against Salina, and it sucks it didn't get finished out with the illegal defense. And then last week, they're up by 27, I think, at one point, and they didn't close it out. So just Jalen Smart, he's great. Just got to make sure he closes the game out against these guys. Close them out.
So what does next year look like for you? I mean, are you looking that far ahead yet?
Always. I have gotten some calls from other teams in different leagues, and actually after our talk here, I got to get on a phone call. So I mean, it's weird for me. Arena ball is awesome. It's the most fun I've had playing football. I don't think people truly understand. You get paid pretty good, and it's so fun. It's playing this game is so fun. But obviously, I'm 25. I want to get outdoors. I want to see what I can do. I kind of miss it. Last time I played outdoors was in fall of 22. So I want to see what I can do there, and if I can field calls and get an opportunity at that level, that's obviously what I'll take. But I mean, as far as arena goes, AF1 has my heart. Leather balls and everything, like the leather footballs, they're perfect. They translate outdoors, but I mean, as long as the situation's right, and obviously, there's a pay is always part of it, but Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but
No, you're just being truthful.
situation. Yeah. I mean, and the situation's really the big thing. Like in Oregon, it was just like home for me in the mountains. The weather was very similar. And in Redmond, the people out there are awesome. Learning who we are, that we exist, and people were super excited to see it. Our arena was 7,000-8,000 people with we had people spotted all around the place. So it didn't look like there was a ton of people there, but they were loud. They were there, and it was fun to play there. So I mean, Redmond was awesome. I wouldn't mind it, but 45 hours from home's tough. So, but yeah, definitely wouldn't mind going back to Redmond. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Adam?
That was going to be one of my final questions. I think you stole that one from me, but that's all good.
yes.
Dalton, we appreciate you stopping by, bud. This was a great talk. I think you had a fantastic season. Obviously, we're pulling for you for those couple of awards you're up for. That'd be pretty exciting, and excited to see where you could possibly go. When you were talking about your goal line touchdowns, I was kind of in my head thinking, he'd be good in the CFL, wouldn't he, Dad? There's a lot of quarterback sneaks in the CFL.
Yes.
Dalton might be pretty good at that. I mean, I'd love to see you in the CFL. I'd love to see you at any level of football at this point. So we're very excited to see what the next step in your journey is, because you're a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Dad. Anything else?
I thought we were going to ask him about his current job.
Oh,
that has a connection to us here in Kalamazoo.
Oh yeah,
you do have a Kalamazoo connection. This is
yeah.
something we forgot to bring up. Yeah, tell us about your Kalamazoo connection.
Yeah, so where I work, College Hunks, it's a moving and junk removal company, and the one where you guys are from also has storage. But the owners of my franchise, Todd and Ann, they learned from the Kalamazoo franchise. So I've been to Kalamazoo multiple times,
Oh.
kind of talking to them, seeing them, and picked up trucks from them and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Whenever you guys mentioned you were from Kalamazoo, I was like, oh, that's small world, just weird. Like of all places, Kalamazoo, Michigan. A couple, like I think it's 130,000 people in Kalamazoo, maybe a little more.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the population is.
Yeah, of all the places, I'm like, oh, well, that's just funny because that's where we basically derived out of, trying to learn from them and stuff. So
cool.
Well, next time you're in town, you know who to hit up. we consider Kalamazoo the center of the football world, so the next time you're in town, you're at the center of it all. So
yes,
that's right.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, if I see a truck pulling in our driveway, I'll expect it to be you driving it.
Deal. Got it. I'll make sure they know.
All right. Very good.
All right, Dalton. Thanks a bunch, man. This has been a lot of fun. We'll have a link to Dalton's socials down in the description of the video, guys, so you guys can follow him on his journey. He's got a lot of cool stuff over on his Instagram. Dalton, again, thank you very much. We appreciate you swinging by and sliding into those DMs earlier this season. That was a bit of a surprise, not going to lie, but we're very grateful for you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Congratulations on a great season.
Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Bye.